Welcome back to Sessions with an Adoption Attorney. This is session number 5. My name is Anthony Zurica and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are going to be answering 3 questions sent in by you guys, the listeners. The first 2 questions are going to be dealing with international adoption, and the last question will be dealing with domestic adoption. I hope you guys enjoy. Before we begin, I'd just like to once again thank our sponsor, BlueSharkStraps.com. Blue Shark Straps sells premium leather, nylon, and silicone watch bands for a fraction of the cost of products sold by the large luxury watch manufacturers. You can use code ZURICALAW for 25% off your order. That's ZURICALAW. And you can purchase your straps at BlueSharkStraps.com. That's BlueSharkStraps.com. And as always, you could reach me on the web at www.nycadoptionlawyer.com, on Twitter at nycadoptionlaw, and on Instagram at nycadoptionlawyer. If you guys have any questions about today's episode or any episodes in the past, or you want some other questions answered when we do an episode like this again, please feel free to contact me on any of my social media. Thanks a lot, and let's get right into the cast. So the first question we are going to be answering is, what are the typical costs associated with an international adoption? Now, a lot of agencies that deal with international adoption have their own pricing structure. I'm going to give you a sample pricing structure of one agency that some of my clients have dealt with. I won't name the agency, but this will be pretty typical of the fees that you will be looking to spend when you're going forward with your international adoption. So now the agency fees for this adoption cost around $17,000. Those consist of an application fee, a couple of agency fees, a dossier submission fee, an international program fee, and some post-placement fees. Now these fees are paid directly to the agency, and they come out to about $17,000. Now on top of those fees, you're going to be paying some other expenses. Those could include a home study, some post-placement reports, some online education, authentication fees, USCIS fees, travel visas, an orphanage donation depending on which country you're adopting from, international airfare, which could get rather expensive, food, lodging, and in-country travel, and the child's US visa. All of these expenses could total around $20,000, making this hypothetical situation with this agency around $37,000. Now with some agencies you could be spending more, and some agencies you could be spending less. However, these are the fees that you could typically be looking to spend when you are trying to adopt internationally. Moving on to our next question, again dealing with international adoption. A couple of people wrote in and asked, why is international adoption less prevalent nowadays? There are a lot of answers for that. One answer could be the financial aspect of it, but I think the more important answer is that a lot of countries nowadays, including the US, are tending to not adopt internationally because they want to keep their children in their own country and have them grow up with the cultural values and the ideas of their home country rather than adopt them out to a foreign country, and then they lose that sense of identity. So I think that's the main reason nowadays that international adoption has been becoming less and less prevalent. They're going to do everything they can to find, whether it's a distant relative or someone to adopt that child that's in their own country. A second reason that could be just as important as the financial aspect of it and the cultural aspect of it is that every country has their own set of guidelines that you really need to look at when you want to adopt internationally. One country may limit it to an age limit, meaning if you're over the age of 45, they might not allow you to adopt, or if you're younger than the age of 25, they might not allow you to adopt. Some countries might not allow you to adopt if you're single. Some countries might not allow you to adopt if you're same sex. So there are a lot of different guidelines for a lot of different countries, and the work in figuring all that out could be very tedious, and you may hit a stumbling block along the way where it may be something that you overlooked, and you start getting involved in the process, and then you find out, well, I actually can't adopt from this country. So there could be a lot of different blocks that you run into along the way that make the journey that much harder. So those reasons that I mentioned are some of the reasons why international adoption is less prevalent nowadays. Moving on to our last question, reversing course and going back to domestic adoption. A question sent in that said, how do adoptive parents make contact with expected parents seeking to place their children up for adoption? Very simply, I tell my clients the answer to this question is that you need to get your information and the fact that you're looking to adopt out there and in front of as many eyes and ears as you can. Whether that's through traditional ways of networking, print, advertising, and things of that nature. Now we have online advertising, or many other different areas to get, or many different ways to get your information out there, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, setting up different profiles on each of these sites and just letting people know that you're looking to adopt. The typical way that someone will find an expectant mother is not only from this advertising and networking, but also just when people know that you're looking to adopt, they might know someone that knows an expectant birth mother, and that is typically the way that these things happen. Again, it's not the only way. Using these traditional and non-traditional methods of networking works greatly for a lot of my clients. For example, a lot of my clients use the website adoptimist.com, or they use adoption.com, where you're able to put your profile on these sites, and then expectant birth mothers come onto these sites and they read through it and they see if you and your husband or your significant other, or even just yourself, look like someone they would want to put their child up for adoption with. Then that's how you can make a connection. So there are a number of different ways that you can find expectant mothers. Any other questions about that, reach out to me and we could talk about it. There's just a ton of information out there, and I'll help walk you through it and help you find the right way for you to navigate this question of finding expectant mothers. That's it for today's session. Thank you guys for joining. Again, you can reach me on the web at www.nycadoptionlawyer.com. I'll see you guys in a few weeks.